high-speed train to Dublin. This is something that has come up quite a lot in recent times, be it through this Resurgence or our Big Little Ideas campaign, which we ran last year. So to talk about that a little bit further, we're delighted to be joined by Barry Kenny of Irish Rail and by Marian Walsh of Carron Walsh. Barry, Marian, you're both very welcome here this afternoon. We're looking at, I suppose, we just heard the Taoiseach there and Seamus speaking about remote working. So making Waterford a more accessible place is obviously very important to us. I don't think anybody here today will deny the fact that we definitely offer the best quality of life in terms of what we have here. So to make us closer to Dublin and I suppose a more attractive place for people that need to commute, a high-speed train would obviously help. Barry, I believe there are a couple of different definitions. So there's a bullet train, a high-speed train, a higher speed train. Can you explain to us what exactly it is that we can have, what is viable and what we can't have?
Thanks, Linda. I suppose from an engineering point of view, everything is viable. But as you say, in railway terms, high speed is something that's really quite specific. It's typically lines that have this was line speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour, about 160 miles per hour. And it tends to be a completely dedicated to the purpose of that high speed. So no commuter services, no freight services. They tend to be completely segregated from the road network, so no level crossing. So it's a very high capacity, high quality infrastructure. And if you look at, say, the global capital of high speed rail in Japan, as an example, they developed recently a new Shinkansen line, about 228 kilometers long, at a cost of over 14 billion euro. Now, the reason that Japan can do that, obviously, is because they've got 97 cities larger than Cork, and they have the kind of, the population densities to support that. But so obviously, as I say, everything is viable, but what is very realistic and attainable is higher speed. Currently, our best journey time is just under 2 hours between Dublin and Waterford. We have a Friday evening service, which our district manager in Waterford, Emma Cotter, lobbied hard for internally and externally and secured. And when I'm going to my in-laws in Tramore, that's my train of choice.
Yes. And we lobbied hard for that too, Barry. So why are you coming? But we got there.
So, getting all trains under 2 hours, getting those more express services that only stops at Athy and Carlow to an hour 40 or less. Yes, that is absolutely something that's attainable and that we can work towards.
Great. So how do we do it?
There are a number of ways. The easiest way really to improve speeds is to take out stops. I'd probably be arguing with Kilkenny Chamber and other organisations to propose that. But ultimately,
yeah, but they're not here now, Barry, so give us the
It is ultimately about building the infrastructure. Things like eliminating level crossings, things like looking at sections of double tracking, extending the double tracking, obviously, on the Waterford line branches at Kildare, and continually extended that. Looking at things like electrification, ultimately, we believe that the more involved in the project, if they're going to treble the amount of electrification on the commuter lines around Dublin, we can't stop when that work is done. We have to continue in order to decarbonise transport to electrify our entire national network, because electrified trains have improved acceleration, deceleration, far more efficient to operate, and as I say, build you towards that. And then improving the track quality, things like the track bed, is removing curves where you've got severe curves as well. So all of those elements can come together. We looked at a number of years ago just at, how would you take 15 minutes off the Dublin-Waterford line? And the quickest way of doing that, some track bed work, getting rid of level crossings and additional passing loops. The chances are you're talking about, something in the region between kind of 50 and 100 million for that type of project.
Okay, so lots of money. Is the will there to do it, Barry? Is it in the development plan? Is it something that you say you took a look at it, but was it a brief look or a serious look? What are the chances of this happening?
I think when National Development Plan was developed, a lot of the projects, particularly in rail transport, were quite Dublin-centric. And with Project Ireland 2040 now, and with the development of Waterford and our cities, it's quite clear we need to build the role of rail and all public transport, both within and connecting our cities. So the current NDP review is certainly looking at that. And we believe, I'll be honest, I cannot recall a time, I'm 27 years in Iarna Down this month as it happens, and I can't recall a time when there has been the level of kind of stakeholder and cross-political support. So I do think there's a unique opportunity now, and there's an urgency as well in terms of that decarbonising of transport. So, you know, looking at that kind of Project Ireland 2040 timeline to, you know, to build that electrification, to do more electrification every year, to renew our fleet. We have a global plan that says we do not want to order any more diesel-powered trains. The last diesel-powered train should have been ordered already now, and we go electric, battery electric from here on out. And I do think that will and that political support is strengthening all the time.
Super. Barry, before I go, I just go to Marian. Can I just ask, just I suppose from a chamber, business community and a city in general, what can we do to further this fight? Is there anything that we can do to get this over the line?
Well, obviously, with the North Quays development, it is, I think, going to strengthen the role of integrated transport in Waterford. I think it's about ensuring that we maximise that benefit from Project Ireland 2040 in terms of the compact development. You know, rail is absolutely supported and underpinned by higher density development. That's how you ensure the business case is as strong as it can be. And I think with the chamber support in that, it is something that we can develop. And ensure that we continue to build that journey time benefit. And in the meantime, you know, we'll certainly be looking at opportunities, extending, you know, that kind of express service more through the week, looking at other opportunities while also ensuring our Kilkenny customers are looked after as well.
I don't mind them, you'll be grand. So, listen, I'm going to turn to Marian now. Marian, obviously Barry spoke a lot there about development. You obviously as owner of Carron Walsh and with vast experience as in development management. Talk to me a little bit about, we've heard obviously about the moving of the train station. From an infrastructure point of view, what can we be doing here to prep for all this?
Well, I guess, Linda, there's a number of things we obviously can be doing within the Waterford Chamber and within the wider Waterford business community. Barry has alluded to the various different degrees of progression that we're going to have to eventually get to electrification and a higher, quicker commute time to Dublin via rail. But I suppose looking at it as an employer here in the city and an employer in Dublin, where our offices are always interconnecting with each other. You know, we could spend 2.5 hours commuting. Post-COVID, pre-COVID we did it, but post-COVID, you know, we're in the construction, we're in development, so we're going to be on the road. You know, we don't have the luxury of being office-based all the time. So from a business perspective, we really do need to focus on how we make it easier for ourselves. So being part of the wider business community, like Waterford City and Council, you know, their aspirations is to decarbonise the city. One of the best ways to help us do that is to have a good train service and to promote that train service and to do your best as a business community to get people out of their cars and to have a service that is reliable and one that's promoted heavily, because sometimes we miss the benefit. Like we're now all back refocusing on green, thankfully, and using trains and how can we better use public transport. If we can actually get more people moving into Waterford, which is our 2040 aspiration, you know, that train is going to help us increase the spending power in Waterford. It's going to bring more people to live here in Waterford. It's going to give us the opportunity to finance and fund our houses. We're the last city in this country that's finding it difficult to get the banks to support our house building because Waterford is not seen as one of the top 5 cities yet. But we're actually a suburb of Dublin in reality. You know, we're the quickest city to get to Dublin. We have ports, we have airports, we have motorways. The last thing we're missing from an infrastructure perspective is a faster service or a more efficient service on the rail, where you get people on that train and they're happy, they know where they're going. So that's kind of a long-winded answer in terms of the infrastructure, but hopefully it comes across as one that's been from a business perspective, you know, very supportive of this aspiration to get a higher, more efficient train service between Waterford and Dublin, to allow that commute and to allow the two-way. It's not just into Waterford, it's two-way. It supports it both ways.
Absolutely. And I suppose we keep talking about going back again to the remote working topic, and you just outlined it there. The two-way street, it's yes, we want the benefits because we're all about Waterford and the benefit of that. But I suppose we want to offer, you know, a better life for our people here as well, so they can access Dublin and beyond internationally. We have so many international companies. I'm sure even from a multinational perspective, and you deal with a lot of them.
Yes, we do.
Would be, I mean,
it's
a step closer.
You've hit the nail on the head, because we do a lot of biotech and pharmaceutical works, and some of the life sciences companies, and you know, they struggle at times to get people to move to Waterford. You know, we're not on the glamorous list, and there's a lot of things listed in terms of commute and lack of services, etc., lack of housing. The train is, you know, it's intrinsic in that, in helping to make it work, in getting people to Waterford easier, you know. So yeah, you can live in Kilkenny, you can live in Carlow, you know, let's get something that let's use this public transport and let's work with it in terms of getting people to Waterford, because we do struggle to attract people to the city for a number of reasons. But, you know, if we can offer an affordable city, a great lifestyle here in Waterford, which we do, and you can see the publicity around that for Waterford is really becoming strong over the last 2 years. We're really actually getting to be known as somewhere that is affordable with a great lifestyle. And if we actually have the infrastructure and the transport to support that and make it easier for people, I think we will achieve our 2040 objectives.
Great, and I know I jested about Kilkenny earlier, you know, and people jest about Cork. I don't, obviously, being from there, but you know, I suppose really, as much as I make a joke, that this is about regional development.
It is.
I mean, we would always say a strong city drives a strong region. So exactly. In order for that to happen, then I suppose this is the way we need to go, and have that accessibility and a partnership with Dublin to offer a real alternative to people who are looking to maybe relocate outside of Dublin.
Correct, and it is regional, and to that point, we will have our new regional university very soon. Like, train will be absolutely instrumental in that, in terms of, you know, making it attractive from students from Dublin to come and live and commute between Dublin and Waterford. You know, the train's going to help with tourism. It's going to add, you know, a substantial amount of spending, and spending power is what we need, you know, to get our city in particular, and I'm sure Kilkenny is the same, you know, to get it revitalised again, get some spending power back into the city centre. We need to bring people to do that. We need to make it easy from an infrastructure perspective to get here. And I mean, the with tourism, university, employment, and my fourth one then was housing, which I alluded to earlier. You know, we've got huge opportunity here in Waterford. We've a load of vacant properties in the city centre. It's probably going to become part of some sort of affordable initiative for the government. If it's not, it should be. And again, you know, ease of transport. Come and live in Waterford. You know, you can live in the city centre, and you can hop on the train quite quickly and go back and visit your family in Dublin at the weekend.
Fantastic. Marian, thank you so much for that. And on that note, Barry, we want to get you visiting the family here in Waterford, coming down from Dublin.
Soon as possible, soon as it's allowed, Linda.
Yeah, you need to get on that fast train, and then you need to get the old line back out to Tramore, so you'll be able to go the whole way and you'll be delighted. I think we have a couple of questions for you guys. Fargal, if you want to pop in.
We do. There's a few. We won't be able to answer them all completely now. There's the one issue is that if this took place and it was it's a big piece of work, would we have the capability here in Ireland with our own people to do this, or would we be bringing in lots of foreign companies, etc., to help us to do it?
There's obviously an international marketplace, but I mean, you know, you take things like electrification, like the infrastructure improvement works that are needed. They're projects that we're undertaking. You know, at the moment we're doing works on the Cork line, for example. So there's Irish businesses and international businesses, but certainly if you like, the labour resource is certainly here. And likewise, we're doing the planning on electrification as well. So those skills will for those projects. It's a case of retaining them and progressing on other projects.
Okay, here's one not quite exactly about the actual high-speed bit, but could we put the Waterford train station underground? Up in the chat.
Underground puts costs overground. That's, you know, that's the issue there, you know. But and again, look, I think the key is integration, and that's what the North Quays is going to give us. Is going to bring all this transport together.